DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
What's up, Delaware? Happy Monday night, and welcome into another edition of DETV Sports here, live from our studios in Wilmington, Delaware. Nick Alessandrini, as always, joined by the crew. Dennis is back behind the glass, but as we start every show, we're going to dive right in today. A little bit of an intro, but Jason, joined once as always by Jason McCall, Matthew Maurer, but Jason first here. Where were you this weekend? I know we usually take a little bit of an intro. We take our time and kind of ease it into where have you been, but we're going to jump right into it.
First off, pause. I'll do that again. This weekend I was at home in Baltimore. I went home for the weekend. Stayed there. Celebrated a friend's birthday on Friday night. Saturday, got some homework done and chilled in Baltimore. Saw my mom, all that good stuff. Chilled in Baltimore, saw my mom, all that good stuff. You know, the usual. Sunday,
My favorite day of the week.
Ravens. Why? What? You up 14 points with 11 minutes and 26 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and you lose by 2 and the clock strikes 0. Run the ball when you're up 14 points. Run the ball. Run the ball. You have running backs. You have 3 of them. Use them to your advantage. That's a perfect recipe when you're up 14 points. Run the ball. Play solid defense. Bend but don't break. And they broke. And it was a little pissed off because the field goal at the end of the game, I was sitting in that end zone where the ball went through. I was like, So, I'm sitting there watching. Hardball. I said it last year. I said it 2 years ago. Fourth quarter game management. The Ravens have blown maybe like 8 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in the last like 2-3 years. That's coaching, bro.
Got some this year too.
That's coaching.
Talk about it here.
That's coaching, bro. It's coaching.
Just a little bit.
But I had fun though. Good to see you guys. I'm back.
It's great to have you back. And again, he's going to lead
Still
us
Ravens
in.
flop.
There you go.
And we'll hear more from Jason about the Ravens and that comeback win for the Browns here in just a little bit. Matthew Maurer, how we doing?
Good
man. Weekend for you. The Niners, they got back on track. We'll touch on them here in a little bit. Get a fantasy win this week?
I did. Balled out, man. Shout out to Justin Herbert and the gang.
That's right.
Hooked me up. Spent the weekend watching G League games, most notably the Ignite. They played Ontario Clippers. Got some talent on that roster, so probably got 4 guys that are going to get drafted. 3 of them definitely first. So I'm looking forward to it. So
that's right. Again, and a special shout out to the Blue Coats who dropped those banners on Friday night.
It's a fact. In
that home opener, celebrating that G League championship from last year that we all are happy to be a part of there in that G League finale at the Fieldhouse. So again, they're back for another season. We're going to have a lot of fun getting back over there in Wilmington at the Fieldhouse and covering those guys and spending a lot of time there. So going forward, you might see us at some of those home games. Make sure you come out if you're free. Tons of stuff going on over there at the Fieldhouse. A phenomenal event. So again, keep your eyes on the Blue Coats defending that G League championship this year. Well, for tonight, we're going to dive into our Week 10 recap. 5 NFL games on game-winning field goals, the most any in one day in history. Kyler Murray makes his return to the Arizona Cardinals. 76ers guys are first in the Eastern Conference as it stands right now, 3 weeks in. We'll touch a little bit on the landscape of the NBA as we do every week. And then talking about college football, Jimbo Fisher out in College Station.
Good.
Yeah, if I were him, and we'll talk about this here just quickly before we dive into our stuff. But
should never left Florida State.
I was going to say,
good.
We talked about this before the show.
Should never left Florida State. Good.
That he left Florida State. Texas A&M, just one of those schools in the middle of the pack of the SEC that keeps getting these big names and just never seems to really get to that next level. And again, Jimbo was surprised when he left to go over there, but again, money talks, and he got a bunch of it, and he's going to get a bunch more on his way out the door. So with that being said, before we dive into our Week 10 recaps, let's hear what Dennis has for us. We're going to start the show with Dennis's question of the week here on a Monday. So without further ado, Dennis, what do we got for today? Should Penn State fire James Franklin? So this is a good one, guys, kind of close to home here, about 4.5 hours north up in Happy Valley, a team that the Delaware Blue Hens played a little bit earlier this season, so I had a chance to go up there, be on the sideline for that matchup. James Franklin, coming from Vanderbilt, had some success over there in Vandy. Excuse me. Success in Vandy. Again, Vanderbilt not known as a powerhouse in college football, but they were pretty good under James Franklin. Obviously led him to this job. Known as one of the best recruiters in the country. I mean, I'll tell you, we are still all kids up here, aren't we? So without further ado, guys, you know James Franklin this year coming in. Best quarterback he's had in a long time, Drew Aller, one of those top recruits, Mr.
Best
Ohio.
quarterback says who?
Well, coming in as a recruit, to come his first big year starting. Clifford leaves. They got a great offensive line. A couple guys on defense that are going to be first-round picks. Expectations were high, but when it came down to it, they lose to both Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten this year. At home in Happy Valley. Is James Franklin's time up, Jason? Is he time to get rid of the guy up in Penn State?
I mean, a lot of people have lost to Michigan and Ohio State this year. So, I mean, that's not really saying but so much. But Franklin is not the best recruiter. And that's always been one of his downsides. People come to Penn State because of the name of Penn State, not necessarily to play for Coach Franklin. So to fire him, I think he deserves one more year, personally. But if they fire him, I can't really say I didn't see that coming either way. But I personally, if it were me, I would give him one more year. That's my thoughts.
Definitely gonna give him one more year because he's a brother. So, you know. Nah, seriously though, no, I think he's you know, it's just difficult with Penn State with the whole transition that they've had to do since, you know, Joe Pod and all the controversy they've had, and just I agree with what Jason says. I just think it's a hard situation right now for any guy who comes in there that's not super exciting. I mean, Franklin's not like Dion. He doesn't have this larger-than-life personality. So to Jason's point, many of the recruits that are coming there are going there because they grew up with the idea of going to Penn State. So I think that's a difficult situation.
And again, the offense has been lacking in recent years with James Franklin. Right? They never had some of those top-notch skill guys. You know, no quarterback, Drew Aller being his highest-ranked recruited quarterback in some time. You know, you think back to receivers, running backs. They'd have Saquon Barkley. I believe he was there when Saquon was there. But again, never had the most talent, at least offensively. The defense has been stacked up here the last few years. This year, they were one of the top defenses in the country, a top-5 team coming into the season.
I like the squad they had with Trace McSorley. I think Trace McSorley was the best quarterback they've
got
had
a Rose Bowl, I believe.
In a while. They had a Rose Bowl. I like Trace. The Trace team was, but Hackenberg was horrible. Ugh.
Oh, yeah, and number one quarterback recruit. And again, I mean, kind of tailoring, you know, timelines here with James Franklin. Again, I give it one more year. I'm with you guys. I always think, you know, give them the benefit of the doubt for a year. I give 3 years is always my minimum for a head coach. I think there's no way you can give them any head coach less than 3 years. Not to say that he applies to that timeline, but every head coach, in my opinion, there's at least 3 years to get those guys going, get your recruiting classes in, set a culture, et cetera. What do you guys think?
I agree with you, but since we're shaking it up here, talking about college football first on the show.
And now you see the number quickly, Jason, on the screen. 3-17 versus top 10 teams for James Franklin. That'll do you in, especially up in Happy Valley.
Yeah, that'll get anybody fired. But let's not forget that they went through some lean years in the Big Ten with Joe Pod there as well. Those mid-2000s were brutal before everything came out anyway. So, but college football, Jimbo Fisher out at Texas A&M, we just talked about briefly, but I've been hearing a couple of names that was surprising to me.
Heading to College Station.
Dan Campbell's going to be reached out to.
Dan Campbell from the Lions?
They're going to reach out to Dan Campbell. I saw that earlier.
Not a shot.
And
yeah, there's no.
But
there.
I like something that Stephen A. Smith said earlier today, and you mentioned the person's name earlier. Dion to College Station would be must-see TV. SEC, he gets to compete against Saban every year, and
like those Aflac
likes a Kirby
commercials,
Smart, and I mean just his recruiting prowess. Could you imagine him in the SEC?
Yeah, it'd be problems, and I think this is the one thing that people don't touch upon. But being that football is dominated in the South, it's like part of their culture there. It's very hard to get players to leave those to go far up into Colorado. It's going to be a lot easier to get them to go to Texas than Colorado. That's an easy sell job.
I mean, I hope he doesn't leave Colorado. I think they have something. I think with them going to the Big 12 anyway.
But yeah, projected next year, I believe.
I mean, I think Colorado has something. I know everybody's off the bandwagon. I'm not one of those people who off the bandwagon because I know that it takes more than 1 year to build a program. You know.
Well, I know that.
You know.
You know that. But the people on the internet did not know that for some weird reason.
I mean, Dion's first year at Jackson State, he was 500. And that was in the spring season during COVID 2020. So it's not like he starts off super great because you had to recruit. To recap again, Penn State, Franklin one more year, just to tie it all.
I agree with you. One more year, but to go back to Jimbo Fisher, to me again, you just said it, Jason. You hit the nail on the head for me. Was after having all that talent at Florida State, it's not like Florida State is a team like Florida State's one of those programs. Even though they're in the ACC, that can compete with those SEC teams. That's just what they have always been. And even back then, when Jimbo went in national championships, 2013, 2014, that year with Jameis Winston, and then decides to go to a team in Texas A&M. That kind of was out of relevance if it wasn't for Johnny Manziel and Kevin Sumlin that one year that brought him back. They had a couple of good years and then fell back down. I think that Texas A&M is one of those middle-of-the-pack SEC teams that I don't know, no matter who and Deion I think would be the exception because he could bring those guys in. Deion would be the guy for me, but I just don't think Texas A&M is one of those programs, no matter who your coach is, that you can get those guys.
Like their last big-time quarterback was Kellen Mond?
Yeah, if you want to call it. Yeah, college-wise. Yeah,
college-wise.
But let's not forget, this is Deion.
You're right, and that's why I said he could be the exception.
Must be the money. So
could
the
be the
money is
exception.
there, he'll be there.
SEC's money is always there.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Exactly.
I don't, if I'm Colorado, I'm holding my breath because they're going to drop that bag.
And again, I think if A&M is going in any direction, I think that would be the only guy I would go after for that much money.
Also heard Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Rumors also heard is they're making a huge offer supposedly to Lanning out in Oregon, who's having a great year. If I'm Dan Lanning, why would you leave Oregon to come? See, that's my whole thing. It's just like leaving Florida State to go to Texas A&M. Why would you leave? I know it's the SEC, but when you're kicking SEC teams' butt out there with Oregon, when you're the top 5 team in the country, why would you leave them?
Only reason why Lanning might leave because the instability of the Pac-12. That'd be the only reason why.
I don't believe in Oregon, so I'm good with that.
And again, all those teams are leaving. There will be no Pac-12 going forward. So there's your little dose of college football talk for us here on a Monday evening. Let's jump right back into the Ravens here quickly, Jason. We got your perspective on it, but we're going to dive into the AFC North because it was just last week that we all sat up here and kind of declared that maybe one of the best conferences. All 4 teams could make the playoffs. The Ravens and the Bengals were the 2 teams that we held at the top of that food chain, almost in the conference in the AFC. And both of those teams go down. But let's start with the Ravens. Jason, Browns rallying from 14 points down. You're going to see maybe potentially some of those highlights here. Watson, we talked about his struggles throughout the season. Since he's been a Cleveland Brown, highest fully guaranteed contract in quarterback history. Again, we talked maybe not flawless and not the best performance, but looked serviceable in that game. The best I think he's looked athletic-wise. We saw him show off his legs, was able to pick up some big first downs, made some big throws in that game, and leads them on a 14-point comeback in that fourth quarter. Jason, that's the big thing that stands out. You talked about the fourth quarter, not meltdowns, but kind of just blown leads, if you will, here already this season for Baltimore. Because other than that, they could be 10-0 on the year, it seems.
No, call it what it is. Meltdown. It's nothing else but that. I mean, all the games that the Ravens have lost, they've had double-digit leads into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And this game on Sunday, the Ravens led for 59 minutes and 30 seconds. The longest time a team has led a game in a long time in NFL history and actually lost the game. Second play of the game was a Kyle Hamilton tip drill pick 6. We're talking about 45 seconds into the game.
Parlay card was looking good then.
It was looking good. And then he scored early in the fourth quarter. It was 31-17, and then didn't run the ball. I don't understand. Any team, I don't care whether it was high school, we can go with, I don't care if it's Pop Warner, high school, college, NFL. If you're up double digits in the fourth quarter of a game, that's a recipe for running the ball. I don't care what team it is. Even if you don't have running backs, you run the ball still. You milk the clock, but you also try to get people to, waste timeouts, things of that nature. It wasn't done. And then some of the play calling in the fourth quarter was suspect. And
Lamar, a big pick, big interception.
Well, I'll say this.
In the game there.
That pick 6 wasn't on Lamar. That was a tip, and it went back. And, the Browns got caught it, and Newsom caught it rather than took it to the house. But Keaton Mitchell had 70 yards and 3 carries in the first half, and didn't play again until 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
3 total carries in the game.
Why do the Ravens still believe in Justice Hill? I don't get it. Justice Hill is a prone to fumble and everything else. And he doesn't hit the hole fast enough. In and out of his cuts, you can see it on the field. In real time, you can see it.
Ronnie Stanley banged up again yesterday.
Ronnie Stanley, can we not? He gets hurt every game. And We should have kept Orlando Brown. So the draft and paying Ronnie Stanley. It's just what it is.
Chiefs may be thinking the same thing a little bit this year. Matt, what stands out to you, though, in this loss, loss for the Ravens, win for the Browns, however you want to phrase it or however you want to take it. What stands out to you when these two teams went together and the Browns come out on top?
I mean, I'm going to say something that's going to sound like I'm hating, but I'm really not. I mean, I'm disappointed in both teams, honestly. I mean, I think the Ravens are better than what they've put forth. I know this is the first year in their offense. I still haven't seen the offensive talent come together yet. I'm mesmerized by Zay Flowers. Even yesterday, he was amazing out there at times. I still think he hasn't really hit his surface yet. And then Deshaun Watson, look, if you're Cleveland, like, just cancel Christmas, man. Just
really,
yeah, man. I don't. Deshaun Watson will always be a guy to me that had the makings of, I don't know, a top 3 quarterback before he went there. And now that he's there, and look, I want to be fair to Deshaun Watson. I don't know if it's everything he went through off the field that has taken some of the gas out of him, but clearly he doesn't look like the same guy. Clearly he's not playing the same way. They have good talent there. I mean, Njoku's one of the most athletic tight ends in the game. You got Cooper there who makes really great catches. You've got Kareem Hunt, who's one of the better third down running backs in the league. Jovan Ford's a really good, solid running back. So he's got talent there on the offensive side. It just hasn't been clicking. And I've seen him work with less in Texas.
And do a lot more. Yeah.
And do a lot more. And he's in Cleveland with a lot more. And he's got defense. And Myles Garrett, like, again, we talked about it before the show started. I mean, this guy is like a juggernaut out there defensively. And yet I still don't see anything that they got for him.
I think this one, at least, and I agree with you coming into this contest, I think he looked a little bit better to me, and I don't think he's going to obviously, and I think we talked about this before the show, but I don't think we're going to see Houston Texans Deshaun Watson most likely again.
But he got paid to be Houston Texans.
You're right, and that's right, but sometimes that's just how it works, and I don't think that's the case here. I think he's obviously in a new offense. They're not gunslinging around in that same spread offense that they ran in Houston. It's way different here in Cleveland with that offensive line. They want to run the football with Stefanski, so I think that has a little bit of something to do with it. I do think he's getting more comfortable. He looked more athletic, finally started using his legs. But to everyone's point, I think if he was older, Deshaun Watson, this team would be one of the best teams in the AFC. But with what we got, and I think what we're going to get going forward, I still think they're a playoff team. I think they're a team that's in contention strictly because of that Jim Schwartz defense. Tops in the league in most categories. That defense is unbelievable this year. If he continues to get better, Jason, I think they got a shot.
I'll say this: Ravens and Browns were 1 and 2 in total defense in the NFL going to the game. I think the Browns are still a scary team. Seeing them in person on Sunday, that defense can win another 2 or 3 games by themselves.
Yeah, agreed.
I saw that. I saw what they could do. If Cleveland doesn't turn over the ball on offense, and that's really the only thing they have to do, not turn the ball over on offense. If they do that, they're 6-3 right now. They could easily finish 11-6.
But I think that's the key difference between you at Baltimore and Cleveland, though. I don't have any faith in Deshaun Watson. I don't think if you got to rely on Deshaun Watson to win the game, I'm not buying. Give me Lamar. Give me the Ravens D. Because right now, they're living on that defense. I mean, if anybody's living on that defense, it's Cleveland. So I
do agree with you there. I think both defenses may be a toss-up because that's how good they are. And you're right, if I had to pick one offense, you got to take Baltimore there. So I'm with Matt there in terms of who I would put ahead going forward. But again, the AFC North, everybody beats everybody. It's a battle every time, so you really can't get a gauge.
Still in first place, though, for all the haters. Ravens still in first place. Talk to me when your team's in first place.
Ooh. AFC North is strong. That'll take us to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who continue. Mike Tomlin, how does he do it? Gets another victory with a team that gets outgained. They've been outgained every single game this season, and they are 6-3. No team has ever done that in NFL history. They've been outgained in every single game they played in. Yet not only are they above 500, they're 6-3. Mike Tomlin, and one of the biggest travesties in NFL history, never finished top 3 for Coach of the Year. Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing season. That's one of the things I will never understand. Is this the year Mike Tomlin is a Coach of the Year candidate at least? Can we at least get him to be a top 3 guy here?
He should be. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I've seen enough. Get Kenny Pickett heck out of there, man. That dude's not good, man. He's not what they're looking
rough,
for.
Man. But I would say this, Matt, before I give it back to you here, one of the worst quarterbacks through the first 3 quarters of the game, number 1 quarterback in terms of rating in the fourth quarter this year in the NFL. All you got to do is keep him close and get him to the fourth quarter.
That's
like
the problem,
a little
though.
Tim Tebow magic maybe he's got in Kenny Pickett.
Oh, man.
Oh.
But I'm with you. Has not looked the way they expected him to look. 163 yards in this game, Matt.
Yeah, get him out of there, man. I'm done, man. I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
6-3. They're 6-3.
They're 6-3 in spite of Kenny Pickett.
Outgained every game this year. You just do not see that. Matt Canada's still the offensive coordinator. Mike Tomlin's a loyal guy. We're seeing that. He's not going to get rid of his guy,
loyal.
Matt Canada.
Very
Again, he's doing a phenomenal job. Just what do you think about the Steelers here, Jason? Obviously, long time you've been involved with the AFC North. You've seen those Ravens-Steelers battles over the years. Is this Steelers team a playoff team? We talked about maybe the whole division being in the playoffs. So is this team going to be in the playoffs here? The schedule is looking really friendly down the back half.
They're the bubble team because of the offense, like Matt alluded to. If Matt can't trust Deshaun Watson, we really can't trust
At all.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. That's
At all.
absolutely right.
But this game was actually given away by Jordan Love. Those untimely interceptions in the red zone.
But I will say this, that Steelers defense is very good on the road at Pittsburgh. I thought Jordan Love, as to what we saw the last few weeks, I thought he looked, at least to the eye test, a little bit better.
He looked better.
I thought too, but again, you're right. 2 picks and 2
talk
big
about
ones.
what Matt said a few weeks ago. His decision making is atrocious.
It's bad.
And you saw it in the fourth quarter. Like that back shoulder fade through in the left corner of the end zone. It was intercepted by Patrick Peterson of all people. I'm like,
Patrick Peterson.
why would you throw that?
Yeah,
Like,
that was the knock on him coming out of the draft.
Like, why? That was a horrible interception. It really was. And I don't know what's going on with the Packers' run game.
And that's the thing, too. Right? Coming into the year, one of the best offensive lines on paper. They lose Jenkins. They lose Bakhtiari, who there are rumors going around that David Bakhtiari might never play again. Again, if he tore that ACL a few years back, has not been able to stay on the field since then. Just something to keep an eye on. But that offensive line's depleted. Aaron Jones still banged up. In the game, obviously, last week we saw Aaron Jones get 22 touches. Looked fantastic. Steelers defense held him in check yesterday.
And Christian Watson's not that guy.
At all.
But let me ask, and I'm
At
not saying
all.
he is, and to what degree. I do think he could be a good receiver in the league. I think he
He's
gets.
not number one.
No.
He's a deep ball guy, at least
He's
in
not
my
number
opinion.
one.
He was,
That man number 3.
he was open downfield a few times yesterday, and Jordan Love could not get him the football. He beats guys deep. He's got that capability. I would like to see him with another quarterback. I wouldn't pack it in on Christian Watson yet. So
I'm out on Christian Watson.
Really? Okay. We'll have to wait and see if Jordan Love's the guy next year, because I think Christian Watson's got some talent. We'll find out. Packers, though, opened up the season with a couple of victories. Jordan Love had a lot of hype. I mean, maybe thought he was going to be the next Aaron Rodgers here in Green Bay. Things have really taken a turn or a downward spiral for them.
Yeah, okay.
Steelers, though, things are looking good. There's a lot of talk. People thought coming in.
No.
Quick question.
There's no way.
You got all this faith in Watson. Who would you say is their best offensive weapon besides Aaron Jones and Dylan?
You mean like including Christian Watson?
Skill.
Yeah,
Skill.
Yeah, Christian Watson.
You don't think Musgrave is?
No, I like Christian.
Or
I like
Jaden
Musgrave
Reed?
too. No, Jaden Reed's good too. But I think I would take
Yeah,
Watson. It's all
Dobbs.
close. Don't get me wrong. It's all very close. I would take
Man,
Watson out of those guys.
I would probably take Musgrave.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Musgrave has the most upside.
A lot of teams were calling, trying to get Watson there at the deadline. Packers would not give him up. They were offering some good picks. I'd take Watson out of those group of guys. I also like Romeo Doubs too. I really like Romeo Doubs.
I'll give you that.
I think those guys are going to continue to get better. Just will Jordan Love get better alongside them? Will he put those guys in positions to succeed? And again, we talked about this last week though. Matt LaFleur had Aaron Rodgers all those years.
Yep.
A lot of success. When do we start questioning Matt LaFleur in this offense a little bit?
I started questioning him last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. So again, we'll see.
Who
how
am I?
good-
And that's how I questioned him last year. But who am I? You know?
I'm with you. We'll see if he can pick the Packers up and get them going again. It might not be this season, but we'll see how they finish off. Landscape of the AFC North, though, guys, before we move on, which team do you have the most faith in that division to make the deepest run to the playoffs?
Don't ask me. You already
Yeah,
know my
we
answer.
know you, Matt. What about you?
Man, I don't even know right now. I'm kind of torn.
And before we,
Wait,
before I get your decision, let's talk a little bit about
torn.
this next one and a guy that takes down the Bengals, the rookie quarterback out of The Ohio State University.
Our
number 1 ranked quarterback here on our DETV Sports mock draft. It was C.J. Stroud, and he continues to look good, over 350 yards. How about Devin Singletary, guys, on the ground, 30 carries, 150, and a touchdown.
Yes, I started him in my fantasy league this week.
Oh, good for you. It worked
did,
out.
yes.
And then Noah Brown, 7 catches, 172 yards, back-to-back 150-yard-plus games for Noah Brown.
Noah Brown,
the Texans stun the Bengals. Bengals 5-point favorites in this one. They lose on a game-winning field goal, one of those 5 that we talked about earlier in the intro. 30-27, Texans looking good. The Bengals, who were riding high the last few weeks, they were putting back on that pedestal as one of the best teams in the conference. They take a step back here. What stands out to you more, Jason? Was it the Texans winning or the Bengals losing?
Texans winning. I'm not going to give anything Bengals losing. I mean, it's all about the Texans right now. It's all about C.J. Stroud and the way that the entire team is riding with him. Shout out to D'Amico Ryans in his first year.
For Coach of the Year.
He's probably going to be the Coach of the Year, honestly.
I hope so. I hope so.
If Stroud keeps playing this way, he's Coach of the Year, hands down. But it's more about the Texans than it is the Bengals. I mean, the Texans are a decent team. I mean, you have to give them credit. The first game was against the Ravens in Baltimore. That wasn't a true test of who they were. It was an opening weekend. I mean, after that, you've seen that they've improved each week. But even in that game, C.J. Stroud still had a decent game. You know, it wasn't like he was like 5 picks and all that other stuff. No, so you saw it from week 1. He has a hold of that offense, and they have a solid offensive line too. And whenever you give a rookie coming in a solid offensive line, good things should happen for you.
Yeah.
And you have decent running backs. I'll say decent. I won't say great, but I'll say decent enough to tote the rock a little bit. But what he's doing with this receiving core is nothing short of immaculate. It's like Donovan McNabb back in the day with James Thrash and him. Like, he's just throwing
a James Thrash reference.
James Thrash.
James Thrash and Todd Pinkston.
I mean,
shout out to Alligator Arms, Todd Pinkston.
I mean, but I'm saying, I can't think of a receiving core that was really, like, unheralded but still putting up numbers. That's the first team that came to mind. So C.J. Stroud's making this team look really good.
And I will say this, though. I do like his weapons, man. I like Nico. I didn't even have Nico Collins last week. I love Tank Dell as a rookie. You're right. Not the top, some average guys. But I think this offense is going to build, as Jason talked about, get better and better, especially for years to come. They get your boy Slovic over from the 49ers. They get D'Amico Ryans from the 49ers. A lot of those 49ers coaching staff tree guys over there in Houston now. Little list for you here, Matt. Only quarterbacks lead the NFL in pass yards per game and touchdown interception ratio through the first 10 weeks since 1970. So there's 4 names on this list: Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and C.J. Stroud.
That's good company
this year. That's good company for the rookie out of Ohio State. And again, it seems like yesterday a lot of people went back to the Wonderlic test and talked about his low score and could he read defenses, this and that. Well, he is, and he's doing a pretty damn good job doing it.
And the fact that he hit the OH celebration in Cincinnati, that was so disrespectful. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah, we're big C.J. Stroud guys here. But Matt, and you feel you're really high on C.J. Stroud too.
Yeah.
You got him as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, right?
I do. I would take him over Josh Allen right now.
And that's the big thing. I think we could all have him in the top 10, but that's the big one. Would you take him over Josh Allen? Just a question we're going to throw out the desk. 2 yeses.
Yeah. Yes.
Man,
Give me
not ready to do it yet. But
yes.
And I'm C.J. Stroud's number 1 fan. But
I'd take him over Tua.
Yeah, I'd take him over Tua too.
Yeah, I'd take him over Tua.
And
who would you take? Well, let me ask this: who would you
Yeah.
take over him? You got Mahomes, Hurts.
Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar,
Herbert.
So those 4.
Yeah, we're not.
That. Hey, what about Joe Burrow?
No.
I would take Burrow.
I like if Chase comes with Burrow, sure. If Burrow doesn't have Chase,
that's kind of where
good.
I'm
Good
right
on
on that Allen border is kind of where I am. Allen Stroud border right there.
Dak.
Stroud.
Or Stroud.
oh,
Stroud.
No.
And you're right, because the way he's been playing, we'll touch on him in a little bit. He's been phenomenal.
I'm not even on the Dak hater train because for some reason everybody hates Dak, and I think it has to do with him being in Dallas. But
great guy though.
I actually think Dak is way better than people give him credit for. But yeah, I still take Stroud over Dak. Yeah,
that's all. He's the only one I probably won't do that with.
Really?
Yeah. I would still take, if there's those 2 coming down, I would probably still take that.
I got C.J. Stroud in every fantasy league, so hopefully that's good. Hopefully we can keep
and
it
Brock
up for
Purdy.
me.
I'm gonna take Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, who knows? Again, if they got a couple games coming up, we'll touch on them in a little bit.
Not at
if
all.
he can win these next 2 games, I think We'll talk about it a little
Christmas
while,
night.
But
That's all
can we talk about my boy Joshua Dobbs coming
And
back
we are.
again?
What a transition from Matt as we roll into the Vikings. They continue to roll.
Amazing how I did
28-19 win over the Saints at home yesterday. Dobbs, Matt, 23 of 34, 268, a touchdown, 8 carries, 44 yards, and another touchdown. He's bringing the energy. When he got to the locker room, he didn't know which way to go. It was caught on video that security had to tell him where the locker room was. He still doesn't know what's going on in Minnesota. Back-to-back wins, though, for Dobbs since coming over from Arizona. Again, after Jonathan Gannon telling him the day before you would not be traded, he said that they were told he wasn't going to go anywhere. 12 hours later, he was shipped off, so wasn't happy about that, but he's loving his time in Minnesota now. The Vikings are right back in the thick of things. Things were looking gloom after losing Jefferson, after losing Cousins, 5 in a row for Minnesota.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Dobbs has played well all season. He's really showed he's getting the most out of his talent. He showed it. But I think we really got to talk about the thing that's worrisome about Minnesota is that running game. I think that's why.
It's brutal.
I think that's why
my
he's actually
goodness.
done well is because he's kind of him rushing out of the pocket has kind of added that dimension to their offense. Because look, Madison, he's put out some things about people hating on him because of his fantasy football output. But I gotta be honest with you.
And don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. But let's be honest. This guy is one of those guys that people thought was going to eat.
Yeah.
And he ain't eating. He ain't eating at all. And all his touchdowns have been by catching.
Yeah, no rushing
No rush touchdowns. They brought in Cam Akers to do goal line work. Cam Akers blew his Achilles. Career is in jeopardy, unfortunately. And now they have Chandler, who's now got 15 carries in this game. Madison's in trouble. That rushing, I think they feel a lot better with Dobbs back there now.
Oh, yeah.
I think he adds another dimension. I think that's one of the reasons why they're a little bit hard for people to key in on.
And to put into perspective, Jason, talking about Tyson Chandler, a guy that's been on the team the last few years, has been a healthy scratch in most of the games. There was a lot of hype in the offseason, the last 2 off seasons about Chandler, but again, even last year, not active for majority of the work. Comes in this year, hasn't been too active as well after the trade of Akers. Now he's gone. It looked a little bit better yesterday. As Matt said, Madison, no rushing touchdowns on the season. When you look at back the last couple of years, when he got in, whenever Dalvin Cook seemed to sit out, he put up big numbers. Kind of like almost like he didn't miss a step without him. But if you look more closely at some of those box scores, those defenses that they played last few years when he was the starter were pretty bad. And I know that was not a big topic that a lot of people thought would be an issue, but showing this year hasn't been too great in that offense. And the offense seems to still be moving a little bit here, but the run game, that's going to hurt them going forward. How real are the Vikings? Are they a playoff team in the NFC?
Shout out to Astro Dobbs, man.
That's right. Yeah.
Look at that man.
Look at him, man. He's willing the team to win. And when you
Call that man Willie Beeman.
Hey, he might be Willie Beeman
He's
this year.
steaming,
man.
boy.
He might either put on a number 13
Willie
jersey and
Beeman.
walk into the tunnel with that on. But no, I like Astro Dobbs, man. Like I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I was a Josh Dobbs fan in college.
Yeah,
so
Tennessee Volunteers.
he was always a decent quarterback to me. I think that he is exactly what the Vikings needed. Everything happening, and Justin Jefferson is happy to possibly be on the sidelines with them
next week.
But the Vikings are actually undefeated without Justin Jefferson right now.
Yeah.
Since he's been hurt.
So what, 5-0?
5-0.
5-0 since
They're
Jefferson goes
0-4 with him. 5-0 without him.
And we would be
He
remiss.
wants that big money too, though. He wants that big contract.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Saints losing Derek Carr. And my boy, 30 for 30, Jameis Winston, came in the game and gave us what we all
Mr. 30
wanted.
for
You leave my boy famous James alone.
2 for 2, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
You can book that every
You
time,
can
right?
book it, man. That guy is money. Let me tell you something. No one does better at playing offense and defense at the same time at the QB position. Like Jameis Winston. Shout out Jameis Winston. You MVP.
You know, you're guaranteed a few touchdowns.
Every defensive coordinator.
But you're also guaranteed a few turnovers. That's what you get with Jameis Winston. Comes in, not
boy
even
got
plays
no
the full
conscience.
game,
Like Brett
still
Favre,
finds
huh?
the end zone twice, and then
Worse
still
than
throws
that.
2
No, he's not.
interceptions.
Bro.
Brett Favre was all-time leader in touchdowns and interception when he retired.
And the Saints, though, still
about
obviously
it.
in the thick of things, though, in the
Like Brett
NFC
Favre.
South, as are every team in the NFC South.
Won.
It's that.
because of Reggie White.
And again, how about a Jimbo Fisher theme? Jameis Winston and Jimbo Fisher winning that championship back for Florida State. Hawkinson, though, guys, in this one, 11 catches, 134 yards and touchdown. Faced him in both my fantasy leagues yesterday. Got that report that he wouldn't play as much because of the ribs, and that didn't stick. He
lied.
still looked a lot better yesterday. So the Vikings, a team to keep an eye on, could be a potential playoff team in the NFC,
Well,
which
the
is
NFC
not looking
they-
that strong.
They make the playoffs in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So, especially with our boy Dobbs now, man. I'm telling you, he's got the magic in Minnesota. So we'll see what they do going forward. Olave gets back on track a little bit. At least Jameis could get the ball to Olave downfield. That's
true.
a good.
That's
a good point. He's
that
been
boy can
struggling
throw.
this
He
year.
can throw, just may not all go to his team.
Yeah, exactly right. 6 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown for Chris Olave. Hopefully, he can keep that.
And they
momentum
might
going
not have
forward.
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, he's going
There's
to
a
be.
chance he might have suspension coming.
And I think Lattimore injured again yesterday. I believe it
Olave
was
might
Lattimore.
get something to happen to him too. He had something happen to him last week too.
But we're not talking about that. He's on my fantasy team. Doesn't exist yet.
Well, let's roll to some of these game winners we talked about as we touch on these quickly. Part of our no huddle here on Monday nights.
Yeah.
Seahawks beat the Commanders, 43-yard game-winning field goal from Jason Myers. You can check out the box scores, guys. Seahawks, Geno finding ways to win late in ball games. Jason, seems like a theme for the Seahawks. They get one here over the Commanders.
Wasn't a theme in Baltimore, but that's all right. But no, the Commanders. Every game they played, it's like it's been close all year. Like they're getting close with no cigar.
Like those Vikings last year won all those games by one possession.
And man, I mean, the Commanders are like they should really be like 7-3. Like you look at the games
crazy
they
to think
close,
about it, too.
like,
Played the Eagles tough twice.
Like
Yeah,
they
I'll
should
tell
really be
ya.
like 7-3.
And let me ask you this, though, Jason. Riverboat Ron, what's his future looking like with the Commanders now? New ownership group, a lot of new things coming over at FedEx Field.
that
Is he a
boy
part of
gone.
this plan for the future?
Eric Bieniemy will be the head
That's
coach
good
next
call.
year.
And that might not necessarily be the wrong move. I'm with you there. We'll see if that happens. Seahawks get another victory. Still playing in the heat of the playoff hunt in the NFC are the Seahawks with another victory for Geno in
about to start
Seattle. Matt, Cardinals get Kyler Murray back. First time in over 300 days. Murray returns to the Cardinals, and they beat the Falcons in his return. Matt Prater, game-winning 23-yard field goal. Kyler, 19 of 32, 250 to pick. Did run one in and had 30 yards rushing. Impressed with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals going forward? And is he the guy of the future in Arizona, or is this more of a tryout for a trade?
He ain't the guy for the future for them, but, I mean, he's the guy that will get it done for him while he's there. I'm more impressed, honestly, with the rookie Trey McBride. He looked really good out there. And Bijan Robinson, we finally got a good game from him.
Give him the ball.
He
Give
finally
him the
ran
ball.
a touchdown in the end zone.
Finally
He
did.
finally
Give
got
him
a
the ball.
touchdown.
Arthie Smith.
Fire him though.
It's probably his last year in Atlanta.
Not only
We
does
can
he
all
need to
agree
be
on
fired,
that.
but we need to seriously put a petition out to make sure that they don't get a top 3 pick, because we do
A top
not
10
need.
pick. We don't want any top 10
We do
picks.
not need two guns to go there next year, so he can be ignored as the weapon he is, like Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
And
It's crazy.
Bijan. That's 3 top 10 picks, those guys.
Crazy.
More about the
Arthur Smith, man. Like, go back home, Memphis, and chill on your dad's money with FedEx, bro.
It's crazy. I didn't. Again, they've got all kinds of stuff going on in that family. They're set. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. Need,
He's the son of the CEO of FedEx.
Yep.
Yeah.
Creator. I mean,
Creator,
that's just
founder.
insane, right? Like that's insane to think about. Falcons again. I had them to win the division this year, and they could have won the division.
On Madden?
But,
NFL 2K?
I didn't take into account the
Yeah.
Arthur Smith factor. Definitely.
NFL
should. And they're
Blitz?
still in the running,
Not
which is
the
the crazy
Blitz.
part,
NFL
guys. I mean,
Blitz?
you look at the NFC
On John Elway
South.
football, you talking about Game Boy?
NFL Europe.
Great back Game Boy, you talking about you going to win something? Get out of here.
I'm telling you,
Win
the
what?
NFC South is still up for grabs.
No, it is not.
4-6, 4-5, 5-5. Just a game and a half separating those 4 teams.
Tampa
So
Bay
keep
wins
an
that
eye
division.
I
on
mean,
that.
it is poop in
I-
that division.
It is. It's awful.
Tampa Bay wins that division. They're the most consistent team, and that's saying a lot.
Shout out to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker
Baker,
Mayfield,
yeah,
man.
what a season for Baker here.
There
He
you
stopped,
go.
he stopped making commercials, started playing football.
That's
you know?
right. You gotta love that. They kicked the Progressive, lost his insurance over there in Cleveland, and now he's down in Tampa. Lions beat the Chargers in a shootout, and this one, guys, Lions been bouncing back nicely since that loss to Baltimore a few weeks ago. Patterson drills the game winner, 41 yards out. Detroit passed for over 300, ran for 200, over 500 yards of offense against statistically the worst defense in the league with the Chargers. Again, they're giving Herbert no help. Him and Keenan Allen just going to have to try to do everything for the Chargers this year. Brandon Staley, who's made some bad moves throughout his entire coaching career, is supposed to be the big defensive guy, right? That's his defense, what he's supposed to be good at, and they are the worst defense in the league. The offense can't score enough points to get them victories. They're putting up 30-plus. Chargers defense is just pretty bad, guys. Let's talk a little bit about both of these teams. Matt, I'll start with you here. What's the ceiling for the Lions, and how worried are you about the Chargers? Should they have fired Brandon Staley way back when he made that awful call in week 1 or 2?
Yeah, they should have fired him. I mean, at this point, it's hard to be impressed with anything that anybody does against them because the defense is so bad. The defense is terrible.
It's really bad.
It's really bad.
And you got Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James. They signed J.C. Jackson to a huge contract.
Traded him back.
Traded him. They almost wanted to cut him. They couldn't because they wanted to get at least something in return.
It's bad.
It's bad over there.
Well, they claim that he was a locker room cancer. That's why he got traded. Honestly, that's
Couldn't even get on
what
the field.
talks were. But Staley should have been fired after that playoff loss last year.
I agree with you there,
Against
too.
the Jags. And that's just
27-0,
Yeah.
largest playoff in
that-
playoff history.
last year. But
Gone.
it's the Chargers. I mean, really? Like,
It seems like it's the same thing every year. We expect them to take that leap. Herbert.
but the
after that
Chargers are
rookie
always
season.
a team that will lead you to the altar but won't get the ring. We can go back to Dan
You're
Fouts,
right
we can go
about
to Stan Humphries, we can go to
Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees. I mean, you go down the line.
Drew Brees, most overrated quarterback. But go ahead.
Not doing
That's a
that
conversation for another day.
But what I'm saying is the Chargers are known to they can draft a quarterback or trade for one. Just don't win anything with them. It's just I don't know. Like they just don't win with
And again,
talent.
they get Herbert, one of the most impressive guys at that quarterback position. At least that's how I feel. Top 5 quarterback, top 6 quarterback, and they just can't get nothing going. If you turn to, I don't have the career record for Herbert to look at in front of me, but it can't be. It got to be close to 500 around that area.
Has to be.
Or
Yep.
something along those lines. I think Brandon Staley. I think this could be his last year with the Chargers going forward. I don't think. Could they sneak in the playoffs? Probably not, but
No.
maybe. But maybe
No.
on the back end.
No.
And if they do, I don't expect them to do much more than that with
Yeah.
Brandon Staley going forward. Again, too many injuries and stuff. Defense is the worst in the league. It's a shame for Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, who continue to produce each and every week.
The problem is this: when you're playing in a multi-billion-dollar stadium like SoFi,
In LA,
they're gonna want a product.
that's why they got the Rams. Hey, they won a Super Bowl a couple years.
Say
That's
that
all
with-
you can ask for. 2
Say
years
that
ago.
right now with a straight face.
Oh no, you can't do that.
Okay,
But you'll take
thank you.
2 years removed from a Super Bowl. You can't complain too much.
But you need consistent winners with that kind of stadium, and now the team.
And that's why they gave him 2 shots at it.
And neither team is a consistent winner.
No, you're right about that.
So
you are right
they're
about
gonna make
that.
shake up both teams.
Yep.
Honestly,
Yeah, well, we'll see what they decide to do. Matthew Stafford coming out recently and saying he's not retiring.
Sean
anytime
McVay should
soon.
retire.
He almost did after that Super Bowl. Maybe he should have.
Matt Stafford should retire.
That too.
We'll see. Going forward.
He
Let's
got his
get-
ring now.
Quickly, though, guys, before we move on, really quick, ceiling for the Lions. Quick answers. Matt, what do you got? The Lions, a team that can make a Super Bowl run in the NFC. Could they be?
Super Bowl run?
Yeah, could they make it?
No, they're just happy to get in the playoffs.
Oh, there we go. Jason, what do you think?
You're a hater.
Realistic, man.
Lions, I'm with you. I had the Lions winning the division. I had the Lions making a run. You coming on board, Jason? Now they're looking better than we thought.
We beat them Lion Tamers.
It's the NFC. It's the NFC we're talking about here.
I'm good. I'm good on them.
I mean, they're a playoff contender. I wouldn't say Super Bowl.
So you think
They
there's
would-
no
they would-
way
they could
they
deep
could
run.
beat San Fran or Philly in the playoffs? You think
Absolutely not.
If they gotta go to San Fran or Philly, there's no way.
about Dallas?
We didn't believe in them when they had Barry and Herman Moore. I'm not believing in them with Amon St. Brown and
That's true.
If
you
it's in
know.
a dome, I think they got a shot. Jared Goff's always got a shot in a dome.
Jared Goff's overrated, but go ahead.
So there we go. Have it there for the Lions and the Chargers.
I'm hating
No
today.
huddle quickly. We're going to run through these lightning speed. Jason, Bears beat the Panthers on Thursday Night Football. Not
Next.
sure if you watched 16-13.
Sam Bowie.
Bryce Young
Young.
continues to struggle. They show David Tepper up in the box. He looks devastated up there. Just looks like he's just really losing a lot of sleep
should.
over this. They give up the house to get the number 1 pick for Bryce Young.
And they got
and
Sam
C.J.
Bowie.
Stroud looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league already. How worried are you about the Panthers? Are they? And how worried are you about Bryce Young?
I just pay attention to what.
They got Sam Bowie, Ryan Leaf, whatever you want to call it.
This is definitely that.
Achilles Smith.
Is it too early to judge Bryce Young? After
No.
No.
No, I will tell you, we all had C.J. Stroud. I'm a big C.J. Stroud guy overall, but I will say this: that Panthers offense is not built to do anything. Their offensive line's been terrible. Their best receivers, a 40-year-old Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard, and Miles Sanders have been abysmal in the backfield. The defense has been horrible.
I'm gonna say something. Most Oklahoma quarterbacks are overrated coming to the NFL.
Alabama,
Well, Alabama,
same thing. Well,
Same thing.
Almost the same.
Same thing.
Almost interchangeable.
Oklahoma, Alabama quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL except for Hurts and Tua.
I don't think Bryce
And
Young
and
built
Hurts
for the
left too.
NFL.
Hurts went to Oklahoma, so that's true. That's true. I'm with
I
you
mean,
there.
no, I don't
And
trust.
it was the height too. It was the height coming in. And he looks like he's struggling to see the field. At least that's
I
how
bet
it
he
looks
is
to
at
me.
5'9".
There's only one Kyler Murray. There's only one Doug Flutie. Other than that, nah, I'll pass.
I'm good.
Yeah. Honestly,
So are you declaring he's a bust already? You're declaring.
No, I'm not
No, I'm not
saying
saying
that.
bust. No.
Okay.
he probably won't be a starter too much longer.
Well, that would, in my opinion, be a bust for the number one
Yeah, that
overall
would be a
pick.
bust.
I don't
No,
know.
because some of them will end up being serviceable backups.
He could be Baker
Yeah,
Mayfield.
but that's not what you think so?
He could be a Baker
Okay,
Mayfield
that's
type
not
guy
bad.
where
Okay.
he struggles
I
and
can
then
see that.
coast around the league a couple times.
So if you can be just average to just a little bit above average, then we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll find out. But again, C.J. Stroud,
Don't be too
David
harsh on
Tepper
him.
is not. Rumors are Frank Reich and all them wanted C.J. Stroud. There's a video of them after his pro day going up to him, telling him to pick out an apartment in Charlotte. And David Tepper supposedly overruled those guys
Yes, and I
took
believe it.
Bryce
he should
Young.
be fired.
So
David Tepper should be fired.
So he should fire himself as the owner if he could do that.
He
So
should,
we'll
he should
see.
be fired. He should fire himself.
So that would be one of the biggest mistakes in NFL history,
Again,
potentially.
It's
As it
curse
would
of
seem.
Cam Newton, baby.
You're not Jerry Jones, dog. You're not Jerry Jones.
He's
Stop.
not even Jerry Richardson, the original owner
That's a fact.
of the Panthers.
Quickly now over here to Matt. Colts outlast the Patriots in Germany. Another snoozer, 10-6. This one early on Sunday morning.
Mac Jones.
And Mac Jones gets benched for the potentially game-winning drive when they needed to win the game. They bench him. They bring in Bailey Zappi. And Mac Jones' career coming to a close in New England.
I
Also
think
a
so.
close period.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
He's AJ McCarron 2.0.
the cat's out the bag, man.
Gardner Minshew gets a win for the Colts on the road. Are there any other takeaways in that one?
It's too early. I didn't even watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
trash.
it wasn't worth watching. I did.
No.
It was not worth watching it. Now over to the Cowboys, Jason. They blow out the Giants 49-17. Giants are looking like one of the worst teams in NFL history. They keep throwing Tommy DeVito out to quarterback. It looks like they're
Danny
kind of
DeVito's
throwing
son.
in. It kind of looks like they're throwing in the towel a little bit here, Jason. Cowboys
They ain't
blow
throwing
them
the
out.
towel. They just trash. They no towel. If
But here's the thing. But let me ask you this:
Do.
You don't start a Tommy DeVito unless you want to lose. You don't.
What do
There's
you-
in
what
no
do you
reality.
mean? Daniel
pick up
Jones is
anybody.
gone.
It doesn't matter. You
Tyrod
sign
Taylor's
anybody.
gone.
You can get anybody off the couch that's better than Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito should never play an NFL game again.
They are do.
But that's what I'm saying. And they know that, and they're feeding right into it. They don't expect to win these games. You cannot throw them out there. And the team knows it. They play like they knew they were going to lose.
The Giants are the Washington Generals of the NFL. It's just accident waiting to happen every week.
And how about this, guys? Again, we talk about it. Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year. We talk about Mike Tomlin not finishing in the top 3 in his career, which is unbelievable. Brian
Daboll shouldn't have got Coach of the Year
last year at
He shouldn't
9-7.
have got it last year. He shouldn't have got it
Agreed,
last year.
and he did. And they are struggling. Again, it was his decision to give Daniel Jones that $40 million contract. 6th highest paid player in the NFL at any position this year, Daniel Jones. And the Giants look like the worst team.
I would have paid Saquon and shopped Daniel Jones.
And they could have shopped him last year, I bet. That's the tragedy of it all is nobody wants to even to look at him this year. Last year, you probably could have shopped him.
I would have shopped him.
Instead, they gave him $40+ million. It has not worked out. They look like they're going to be in a deep hole going forward. We'll see
In a bunker.
what the Giants look like.
Covered in
And
dirt.
another one here, and just to talk a little about Baker Mayfield, Matt. The Bucs beat the Titans 20-6, and that game was a pick-em heading into it. Bucs take care of business. Mike Evans drops one, but does look pretty good in that one. The Bucs offense under Baker Mayfield not looking too bad. Defense holds the Titans and Will Levis to 6 points.
I think Will Levis' bubble already burst, and it's looking like he's kind of Reggie at this point.
Below mid, all right.
He's mid.
Reggie is below mid.
Yeah, it's
it
below
is.
mid. I just
At the Reggie is dirt.
like, yeah. I'm just saying, man.
Hey, is that what we're saying already about Will Levis?
I don't want to say. Look, he just came out really hot, and like he hasn't looked anything like that. So it's starting to look like it was just a flash. Like I haven't even seen a trace of what we saw that first game.
You
Not
know,
even
it's
a trace.
struggle.
You know,
They
it's
struggle.
kind of like that meal at the house you cook one time. It tastes real good.
Yeah,
You try to
Because you were
replicate
real
it.
hungry, because you were real hungry
You
that
try to
one time.
replicate it, and you never will ever again.
ever again.
That one time was the best.
I don't know if it was the skillet,
Like the
the
seasoning
seasoning.
pan, something.
Something.
You know, that's what Will Levis is to me.
Well, again, the Titans, they're one of those teams that could be looking for a high draft pick maybe next year. Not looking good
They
for
need to
them
be looking
recently.
for everything.
Yeah.
Again, Titans. Right now, the projection for the top two picks would be the Bears and the Giants, or excuse me, the Panthers and the Giants, but the Bears, because the Panthers traded that pick last year.
I think the Giants are right now have number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick, yep. So we'll see who gets that number 1 pick. It could be the Panthers again, but again, it would be the Bears now since they got rid of it to go get their man, Bryce Young. So we'll see what happens there. Jason, quickly, Raiders beat the Jets 16-12. It's now going on 2 games. Zach Wilson, the Jets cannot score a touchdown. They kick 4 field goals in this one, and the Raiders get a win, a 16-12.
I want to talk about the Hail Mary. Conklin knocked the ball out of Garrett Wilson's hands. They would have won the game. If you look at the replay, Garrett Wilson has his hands on the ball, and Conklin knocks it down.
Tell me Conklin had money last night on the Raiders?
He probably did. Because if you watch the replay, like Garrett Wilson clearly had the ball. Like he's getting ready to moss everybody, and you see Conklin's hand last minute like this.
It's looked rough for the Jets.
I mean, hell, Zach Wilson's playing quarterback. It's going to be rough. The defense is going to win those games.
Aiden O'Connell was playing quarterback for the Raiders.
But we said that if the Jets won games, it would be based on their defense. We knew we couldn't buy into Zach Wilson.
That's a fact.
But again, 16 points for Aiden O'Connell. I maybe thought that would be enough for the Jets in a victory. But
Antonio Pierce 2-0.
I said Antonio Pierce 2-0. Jets defense, they're going to have to hold teams to 3 points if you want to win games. That's the only way to do it. Then Matt, to finish off our no-huddle here, 49ers, they blow out the Jags. They lose 3 in a row.
Yeah.
They come off that bye week. The bye week looked good for them, and they get those guys back. Trent Williams, Debo, all those guys come back, Purdy healthy. And they beat the hottest team, at least statistically, through the last 5 weeks, who have won 5 in a row, the Jaguars. 34-3, really no contest throughout.
That's what they said. They said it was the hottest team.
That's what they said.
I ain't see it, though.
Listen, they came back off the bye with Chase Young.
Chase Young.
Chase
him
Young.
and Bosa looking good as that on
And
either
Hargrove.
edge there.
Thank you,
Hargrove
Eagles.
doing that.
Appreciate you guys.
Niners looked good when they are healthy there. So 34-3.
Shout out to my boy who went to the game and was showing me footage. I was live streaming from the Ravens game. He was live streaming from the Jaguars game. So shout out to my boy DeVere. You went to the game, good brother. You enjoyed yourself, man. Get back safe, bro.
Niners get a big win there in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence numbers way different on the road. His splits on the road and at home. He's been horrible at home this year. Something you don't typically see out of relatively good quarterbacks is them playing bad at home. So
And
Trevor
Ridley's
Lawrence
disappeared.
Yeah. And you really didn't see anything of ETN didn't have a good game.
I don't know if he's
yesterday.
back to betting. Somebody grab that man phone, man. Somebody grab that man phone, man.
Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson are going to have to figure that out going forward.
Turn
Tough
location
loss for
on,
them.
Ridley. Turn the location on.
Yeah, turn that location off, Ridley.
Well, that'll take us to our Monday Night Football preview, and on paper doesn't look like a great one, but the Bills have been playing well, and the Broncos have reeled off a few wins in a row. Yeah. So they're going to come on the road now to Buffalo. The Bills still 8-point favorites in this one, big favorites, and over-under set at 47.5. Denver is coming off of that bye week. They have been playing way better. They do have the worst pass defense in the league, especially through the first 8 weeks. But Patrick Surtain is still there. They've been playing a lot better the last few weeks, and the worst rating allowed to running backs in receivers. So skill position for the Bills could potentially have a big game tonight. But through weeks 5 through 8, just 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions for that Denver defense. So they turned things around here the last few weeks. We're going to see Diggs versus Surtain. That's a big matchup here in this one tonight. Guys, just initial reaction or thoughts. What are you looking for in this Monday Night Football game? Denver traveling across the country to take on Buffalo.
Everything you just said, Broncos win.
Coming from the Buffalo's biggest hater on the year, Jason McCall, but he's been right. They're 5-4. You talked about them finishing lower in the division. If they lose this one, Jason, they're 500 through 10 games. That's not where they expected to be.
That's what they will be.
Taking Denver. So you're definitely taking the 8. You're taking the money line?
No, I'm taking a +8.
Yeah, and give the 8 points?
I want more money. Give me the +8.
Man, I'll go with you. Are you feeling the same way? You think, but you're saying Denver could win the game outright, though. You're picking Denver to win.
Yeah.
Are you picking the Broncos to take down the Bills in Buffalo? Bills going to drop to 5-5?
Give me the ponies, man. Give me the ponies. They ain't Broncos yet. They ponies, but give me them, man.
Russell Wilson's been playing well.
Here's the reason why I say that, because when you say all those stats about the worse than this, the worse than that.
Yeah.
The Bills play down to the competition quite often.
Yes, they do. That's actually very accurate.
And that's why I'm saying that. It's not real. It's not really hating on Josh Allen, but he's going to throw a couple of interceptions.
At least one.
At least one. At the wrong time of the game.
Yep.
But also at the same time, Russell's going to throw one too. So it comes to a matter of, will Surtain shut down Diggs or not is really the question tonight. I think that's the X factor of the game.
And for me, it's going to be Dalton Kincaid, the tight end for Buffalo, has really stepped up with Knox, been out drawing a lot of targets. Can he get involved tonight? I think it could be a good game. I think that Denver defense has been playing well. I don't see a blowout, as Jason said. Buffalo plays down to their level of competition. And again, Denver has been playing better the last few weeks. I'm going to take the Bills to win the game, but I'll take Denver and the 8 points if we were talking about the line, man. What do you think?
Taking Russell.
And the NFL got what they wanted. They got a Wilson versus Allen matchup. But can we say this? Let's big picture before we go back to the over-unders. Mm-hmm. The Sunday night and Monday night games have been absolute trash this year.
Well, Thursday night, you should even turn the TV on. It's been almost that
but
bad on
every
Amazon.
night
Al Michaels even says it on Amazon.
Every night matchup this year has been horrible to watch.
And I will say, again, you look at some of these things, a lot of these Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be quarterbacking for the Jets. You know, the Broncos were supposed to be a lot better. I mean, they kind of try to plan this out ahead of time. With a lot of injuries this year in the NFL, these games, to your point, have been awful.
But then you add a Black Friday game? Come on, man.
And I don't think that's a Jets game. That's Jets-Dolphins.
It's a Black Friday game this year. Why?
And again, Dolphins should win that one by 50.
Should.
And going back to the Denver, and you look at some of those numbers just quickly, why those numbers are skewed. It's because they're the team that Miami scored 70 on in that game. So that's why a lot of those numbers are down towards the bottom of the league. But again, you get 70 put on you. That's just how it's
Dolphins ain't scored 30 cents.
No, they're coming off of the bye week. We'll see if they get better. Devon Achane activated off that practice window today. We'll see if they get
He got 3 weeks to get back on the
They're going to
field.
need him. They're going to need him going forward. Again, they have not beat a team over 500 or a team with a winning record this
They have
season.
not.
Let's go to the over-unders here. Matt, I'll start with you and your boy Josh Allen here. 277.5 yards passing, over-under for 17.
It's the battle of the mid quarterbacks right now. So I'm going to go 250 for Allen, man.
250 going under. Jason, over to you. Russell Wilson, 214.5 yards.
Over.
You go over that? Over. I'll take Jaleel McLaughlin at 16.5 rush yards. Oh, I think he's.
I don't know what it
that.
is, but
He's going over.
I'm going
He's going
over,
over. James Cook, Matt, 50.5 rushing yards.
Going over.
Over. Javonte Williams, 49.5. Jason, he's starting to get rolling. Going over. Josh Allen, 25.5 rush yards. Give me the over. He needs to use his legs, I think, tonight. Gabe Davis, Matt, 42.5 yards. He's hit or miss. What do you think?
Nah, he ain't going to hit.
No, 42.5.
He
Jerry
never does.
Jeudy, 40.5 yards.
over.
Stephon Diggs, 89.5 yards. Give me the under with Patrick Surtain on him on the other side today. And then Cortland Sutton for both of you guys, 46.5 yards. Yes,
He's
sir.
going to go over.
Oh, they both go over.
Yeah.
Him and Judy going over?
Yeah.
Russell
Judy
Wilson
catch
going to
a
light
bomb.
up. Again, Poyer and Micah Hyde. Those guys are getting old out there at safety. That safety duo was good a couple years ago. They've been struggling here a little bit as of late. So we talked about our picks. Anytime touchdowns, guys. Where are you going in this one?
Give me Judy. I think Judy scores.
Judy touchdown. Jason?
I'm on the same page.
Both going with Jerry Jeudy. Don't see that too often. All right, if we had to pick, give me. I'm going to go here into the odds here and give you guys a way to make some money tonight. Give me Khalil Shakir to get into the end zone tonight. That's got
his own mama don't even put that bet on. What
those
is he
numbers,
talking
the odds are going to be through the roof. How about Khalil Shakir finding the end zone in this one tonight?
I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Khalil Shakir, show us the money, the big money odds on Khalil Shakir.
This man
Shakir
doing
there,
practice
guy,
squad players.
here in the Buffalo Bills. He's been looking good now, stepping out of that slot position here for the Buffalo Bills. So with that being said, let's now quickly, before we close out the show, take a look around the NBA. Again, the Sixers coming off some big wins. Jason, you were there for one of them last week on Wednesday night against the Celtics. They get another one over the weekend. So they are the top team in the East as it stands right now.
Playing again on Wednesday in Philly.
That's right, another one. We're getting right back to it with Boston and Philadelphia. But just to take a quick look around here, Jason, what stands out to you if we were to look at the standings here? Sixers sitting at the top, Boston at 2. Milwaukee just outside into the play-in tournament if it were to end right now. Just thoughts overall. We'll start with the Eastern Conference.
Maxey for All-Star starter. I've been on the Maxey train from day one.
Got to hang out with him up at the field house.
He dropped 50 last night. Max is the real deal. I'm just what it is. I saw him when he played against the Celtics. Max is the real deal. And I think you're starting to see that although Embiid won an MVP last year, you're seeing a shift in that offense already with Nick Nurse.
And that's, to me, Jason, is the biggest difference.
You're seeing it.
Is getting Nick Nurse, I think, was just – and we talked about it in the offseason. I thought that was the biggest in terms of free agency moves or whatever. I think getting Nick Nurse was so big for this team.
And prayers up Kelly Oubre, a freak accident, man, the other day.
Definitely.
Like, he was playing the best basketball of his career as a player on Sixers right now.
We need to find whoever did that.
Yeah, but I prayers up for Oubre. I think he's going to be missed over the next few weeks or months, whatever the case may be with his rib situation. But I really like his addition on that team this year. Like, they really like a different unit. But
I agree.
You'll get Rocco stepping in his place for those minutes right now. So, I mean, right now, not going to miss
a little bit of a
beat.
drop-off, definitely in points per game.
A little bit of drop-off, but better. You gain three-point shooting with Rocco in the game. So, Sixers is still going to be top 3 team regardless.
And that was kind of the plan. We came in thinking that they were going to finish in that top 3. Just at least in my opinion, could they compete with Boston and Milwaukee? Coming into the year, I had my doubts, as I thought a lot of people did. But I think Nick Nurse, the addition of Tyrese Maxey, to me, they're still that one move away, right? I think they've got those picks now from that trade. They're servicing the league kind of landscape, see what's going on. I think Morey makes a move by the trade deadline to get that next big piece to give them a chance to make a run. Your thoughts on the Eastern Conference, top of the conference?
I mean, I'm same train as Jason same train of thought about Maxey. I think he's definitely going to be an all-star this year. Amazing player. Was amazing at Kentucky, and just the shackles have been taken off now that Harden's no longer with the team.
And Doc Rivers.
And
That too.
people hating on Doc. I ain't going.
What you mean hating on Doc?
People hating on Doc.
Doc ain't win. Listen, I'm a Celtics fan. I
I'm
don't
with
like
Jason
Doc.
on this one.
I don't like Doc. I'm a Celtics fan. What did he do with T-Mac in Orlando? Nothing. What did he do with Chris Paul?
What did T-Mac do in Houston?
What did he do? But what did Doc Rivers do with him in Orlando?
Look, I ain't got no problem with the Doc Rivers smoke. People can say whatever they want about Doc Rivers, but I will say this. It amazes me in basketball conversations how people throw Doc Rivers under the bus and then they praise D'Antonio like D'Antonio did something. D'Antonio.
Ain't did nothing either.
We're not having that.
People do that, though. People do that.
They're in the same boat. They're in the same boat to me.
They do it. People do that
They're
a
the
lot,
same
though.
Agreed. I'm with
But
you.
Doc Rivers had more teams that had more like all-stars and still didn't do anything. So Doc Rivers was coaching the Sixers and everybody else offered that one championship in Boston. I don't care what nobody says. He earned another 10, 15 years in the league off of that Boston championship in 08.
That man, he one of the all-time win leaders in basketball.
Regular season with the playoffs and do nothing.
And again, a lot of talent on those teams he had in the regular season. Man, you can't just say that. You're right. A lot of people, it's hard to just say
I'm just saying, I ain't gonna say the man trash.
Sure, okay.
Like you guys,
It's hard to call people trash. I think
call
you
him
throw that
trash?
around. Yeah, you can't throw that. I'm with you there. Throw that around too much.
You're gonna say he's trash? I mean, look, you can say maybe
He's
when
mid.
Do you think Josh Allen's trash?
No.
Okay, good.
I think he mid though.
All right.
So
we're on the
I think Glenn Doc Rivers is a mid-NBA coach.
I don't have a
Can we
problem with
agree
that.
on that? Okay.
I don't have a
There
problem
we
with
go. All
that.
right, moving
Okay.
on.
Now let's jump quick to the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the East, those top three teams are the teams we expect to see maybe down the line as we look down here. Donovan Mitchell, one of the names been thrown around for the Sixers too. We'll see if his time in Cleveland.
No.
come to a close.
No. That offense would go right back to where it was.
It
with
would go
Harden.
right to hell. in
So
a
you guys aren't
handbasket.
saying that they can't do it. You're saying you wouldn't do it, is what you're saying.
No.
Yeah, okay, just making sure. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's James Harden 2.0. You want that offense
No,
again?
I'm just
That's
throwing
a
out. I'm
fact.
throwing out names. It was Donovan Mitchell.
You want
Zach
that offense
Levine
again?
is in that
I get
list.
Zach Levine before I get anybody
I would
else.
too. I'd go
Donovan
after Levine.
Uzi Mitchell can stay where
Nah,
he is. Good.
He gonna shoot 40 shots a game.
That's a fact.
And now quickly here to wrap up the Western Conference, Denver 8-2. They're sitting at the top, the defending NBA champs, and the kind of landscape a little bit weird now, right? You got the Suns down that 9th spot at 4-6. The Clippers 3-6 haven't won since the James Harden trade.
Stay right there. Free Bones. Yeah. Bones is out the rotation now, not because of his play, because they're trying to appease Harden.
And we were fearful of that coming in.
Free Bones, man. Like
I was averaging about 16 points, man.
Tyronn Lue, get the hell out of LA right now, because they about to sabotage your season,
busy.
bro.
I'm with
Free
you there.
Bones.
And again, haven't won since the Harden trade.
Nah, man,
he was
I'm
minus
upset.
28 yesterday.
I'm upset
in
about
that
that.
loss to the Grizzlies without John Morant.
I'm upset because-
minus 28.
I'm gonna tell you why. Westbrook and Bones were playing well together, so I
They
developed
were.
a chemistry. And then you bring Harden's bag of trash in there and, his
and-
locker room mess. And
There's the
nah, man, like no, he's not the guy no more, man.
That's the thing, but isn't it crazy, Jason? We sat up here, Matt, Jason, and myself here after the Sixers during the series. He had those games. I mean, you can just tell he doesn't pass the eye test anymore, the stats, whatever. You're looking at James Harden, and for them to at least got what they got for him, I think from the Clippers with those picks and swaps, I'm still surprised they were able to do it.
I would have asked for Bones. I was
Yeah.
Philly. I
Maybe
would've
they
asked for
did,
Bones.
and maybe they did.
I gotta be honest. I never was a Harden fan, even when he was in Houston. I mean, look, I gave him respect for what he did in Houston, but I don't know. His style of play to me doesn't scream team play. I don't think he's a great chemistry
Words
guy.
don't either. He
What
talks
did-
right out.
what did
He
Kobe
said
say?
he's a system.
Yeah.
What did Kobe say 10 years ago? James Harden doesn't play winning basketball. Kobe said that 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's very true.
Clippers, they're
true.
suffering a little bit right now. But again, some other surprises here in Sacramento at the 7th spot. Lakers 8, Phoenix 9, Golden State at the 6th spot. The Rockets are sitting at the 4th spot right now, 6-3 with Ime Udoka. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards 7-2. And this one, guys, I want to get your thoughts on this one specifically. Dallas with Kyrie and Luka really hooping through the first 10 games of the year. 8-2 for Dallas. Matt, let me ask you this: can they keep that up for the Mavericks, who last year they really struggled defensively, but off to a good start through the first 10 games this year. Are they a team that can keep this up going forward?
Yeah, I mean, they made a good pickup in the free agency market. They picked up Grant Williams, really helps them in defense. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Grant Williams, but he's an upgrade when you replace him with Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think Bullock was starting for the last year.
He was indeed, yeah.
And Tim Hardaway Jr. So, they didn't have the best defense. He does play better defense than all those guys. And then you have you drafted Lively, who's come in.
It's been big for them.
It's been huge for them, playing defense and just, rebounding the ball. I mean, that's something that he really haven't had. And then, you have Luka and Irving still figuring out their chemistry. So, I think they're a dangerous team. I don't know if they have enough to play winning basketball per se to get over that bubble that they've been in.
That 4 or 5 seed every year.
Yeah. I don't know about that
run in general,
because I said this take when he first came out in the league and people rebuffed it, but I think there's a lot of similarities there. Luka to me is a lot like James Harden. I don't know if he plays winning basketball either. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you're not really wrong with that take. You're not really wrong. But to answer the question, I believe in Dallas as of right now. I don't have any reason not to. But I think the West won't be the West until Ja Morant comes back and you get a full Grizzlies squad.
It's going to be fun in the West this year. I mean,
it's going to be fun in the West.
But I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
And they're not okay in the West, as Josh said. But
2-8, just for the record, for everybody at home. The Grizzlies.
But I do.
10.
But Sacramento might be fool's gold.
4-4.
I think Memphis fool's gold.
I mean,
Even with
I'll
Ja
give you
back?
that. I'll give you that.
And Jaren Jackson's trash.
And trash, we're throwing trash.
Come on,
around
bro.
again.
You 6'11".
Quickly.
How can't you get more than 6 rebounds? I don't understand.
Oh, you mean Brook Lopez whole career? Okay.
Yeah, but Brook at least had a couple years where he averaged 9.
And he
Did he?
could really score.
Yeah.
What, first 2 years?
Jaren Jackson ain't got no years where he averages
And I think you look at
anything.
Brook Lopez scoring wise. Lopez is a way better scorer.
Did you
I think, than
forget Jaren Jackson in the Olympics, bro? The World Cup
I
that he just
didn't.
played?
I didn't.
He had 1 rebound in 3 games. Like, come on, bro. What
Quickly,
are
though,
you doing?
as we wrap up here, what's your biggest surprise looking at the Western Conference right here? You look at those standings
That
there.
is trash.
Dennis, can you put them up on the screen for us here if you have them?
That is
Yeah,
trash.
that the West is trash. That's the
The
biggest
West
surprise.
is trash.
The
That's
entire-
the surprise.
Well, really, you look at it, I think it's
It's
just going to be. I
trash.
think there's a lot more parity this
Nah,
year.
no.
going forward.
If it smells, it's trash, bro.
It's
okay.
trash.
It's trash.
So if that's the way we're thinking, you're thinking Denver has an easier road this year than ever.
Oh, there's only like 5 teams that are playing above 500, and I do want to give a shout out real quick to a guy that no one's getting any attention to because everybody's psyched on Wemby. Chet Holmgren, if you look at the
Yeah,
numbers,
man.
he's
Good
playing
call.
really good.
Yes,
playing
he is.
really good.
And I'm going to give another
Media
shout
impact.
out. Ant-Man is for real. The Wolves may be for real this season.
But then again, to me, it comes down to Carl Anthony.
That's not his team anymore. It's Ant-Man.
I agree. I'm with you, but how is he going to show up in those moments?
That's the difference. It's Ant-Man's team now. That's the big difference.
I don't know,
We'll
man.
find out. Well, there you have it.
It's not Carl's team anymore.
Carl Anthony Towns looked like Tarzan, play like Jane, man. Good on him, man, bro.
I'm with you. I'll be
Shouldn't
with
have
Matt
been.
on that one. On that note, we're going to end it here on a Monday night. Bills and the Broncos coming up around the corner on ABC and ESPN. For Jason, Matthew, Dennis, and myself, we will see you next Monday night for another DETV Sports Update.
Flip them down.
See you, Delaware.
Go State. Go Seminoles.